In recent developments that have captivated national and international attention, the United States finds itself at a critical turning point in its trade policy, sharply marked by the controversies surrounding the current administration's tariff measures. Former President Donald Trump, a figure renowned for his unorthodox yet decisive style of negotiation, has famously encapsulated in his seminal work, The Art of the Deal, has continued to assert a forceful stance on global trade. Today, as pressures mount and markets fluctuate, the repercussions of these policies are drawing intense scrutiny from both allies and adversaries alike. At the heart of this matter lies President Trump's unyielding commitment to a negotiation style that has long been his trademark. With an approach that emphasizes aggressive deal-making, he has openly stated his admiration for his own business acumen, as detailed in his best-selling book. Moreover, sources indicate that the administration has seen an influx of interest from an estimated 50 to 70 countries, underscoring the international reach of these policies. This surge of diplomatic overtures suggests that the global community is both intrigued and cautious about the implications of such a robust strategy. Central to the current controversy is the administration's decision to impose an unprecedented tariff rate of 104% on Chinese imports, a measure that represents not just a financial recalibration, but also a significant departure from conventional trade practices. This policy extends beyond traditional monetary tariffs and ventures into the realm of non-monetary measures, where strict quality standards and rigorous testing protocols have made market participation increasingly challenging. One such example involves the stringent examination of automobiles, where regulatory practices are likened to subjecting vehicles to severe physical tests, such as dropping a bowling ball from a height of 20 feet to assess structural integrity. In these scenarios, even minimal damage, such as a small dent, renders the product unfit for the market, thereby intensifying the challenges faced by American manufacturers and importers. The day's events on Wall Street provided a live demonstration of these unfolding dynamics. Following days marked by significant losses in response to tariff-induced instability, the global markets experienced a transient rebound at the opening bell. Despite the initial optimism, the underlying economic tremors remain palpable. The Dow Jones Industrial Average recorded a pronounced downturn, with stocks plunging in response to the continued imposition of harsh tariffs. Nevertheless, the administration's messaging was swift and decisive. Aides were dispatched to assure the nation that there would be no need for alarm, maintaining a calm front amidst the trading floor's turbulence. However, the unilateral nature of these decisions has not been met without dissent. Republican senators, alarmed by the far-reaching powers of the current administration's tariff policies, recently attempted to curtail the president's authority in this domain. In a move that underscored the internal dissonance, these senators voiced concerns over the unchecked expansion of tariffing power. In contrast, President Trump's strategy appears to rest on an unyielding belief that strength and decisiveness are indispensable. As he has maintained, America should never allow itself to be bullied by external economic forces, even if that means resorting to aggressive, retaliatory measures. Diplomatic ramifications of these policies extend well beyond US borders. Chinese authorities have issued stern warnings in response to the tariffs, with statements from the nation's Commerce Ministry describing the measures as a grave mistake and an act of blackmailing. Such language, reserved for the most serious of diplomatic disputes, signals Beijing's readiness to adopt a combative stance if pressed. Notably, President Xi has been reported to be prepared to engage in substantive negotiations with the United States, even as accusations fly over the logic and fairness of imposing such exorbitant tariff rates on a country that remains a principal supplier of American consumer goods. International criticism has not been limited to Beijing. Eminent global figures have also weighed in on the issue. French President Emmanuel Macron has publicly denounced the tariffs as brutal and unfounded, urging French firms to reconsider their investment strategies in light of these disruptive policies. Similarly, Canada's Prime Minister has bluntly stated that the current US stance risks plunging the nation into a recession should the global trade war continue unabated. This chorus of international admonition underscores a broader consensus among world leaders that the current policies stray from the principles of rational economic conduct and cooperative diplomacy. Amid these high-stakes negotiations and heated debates, a public feud has emerged between key figures within the administration. At the center of this internal conflict is a dispute between White House advisor Peter Navarro and entrepreneur Elon Musk. In an exchange that has resonated across social media platforms, Musk critiqued Navarro's assertions concerning tariff policies, dismissing his arguments with pointed language that challenged his expertise. Musk, who has boldly emphasized his own company's status as one of the most vertically integrated automotive manufacturers in the United States, rejected claims about the impracticality of tariff avoidance. Instead, he asserted that the current measures are based on a flawed understanding of American manufacturing capabilities. This exchange, punctuated by Musk's candid remarks comparing Navarro's expertise to a sack of bricks, has further highlighted the internal divisions within the administration regarding the best approach to manage trade policy and government efficiency. The controversy is not limited to pointed name-calling. It reflects deeper underlying issues of policy formulation and strategic execution. While Peter Navarro has been portrayed by some as overly cautious, waiting for market corrections, even at the risk of personal and professional setbacks, others argue that his stance represents a necessary counterbalance to more aggressive tactics. The debate centers on the timing and appropriateness of intervention in market dynamics. Should policy be reactive or proactive when confronted with international economic maneuvers? In this scenario, Navarro's approach has been characterized as paradoxically self-destructive, with some voices within the administration suggesting that only when the market reaches its nadir will his strategy bear fruit. Yet, despite this internal conflict, President Trump's overall message remains resolute. In a recent communication to his advisors, he underscored the inevitability of standing up to external pressures, arguing that when America faces economic assaults, the only appropriate response is to retaliate with equal or greater force. It is within this framework that the administration has determined that 104% tariffs on Chinese goods are not merely punitive, but are essential to safeguarding national interests. This sentiment, though fiercely defended by the president, has clearly polarized opinions both at home and abroad, with significant implications for future policy negotiations. As the global economic landscape continues to evolve, the situation presents a stark reminder of the delicate balance between assertiveness in policy and the need for diplomatic discretion. The administration's actions, while rooted in a desire to reassert American strength, have simultaneously exposed the nation to substantial economic and diplomatic risks. The internal debates, the public feuds, and the rapid market fluctuations all underscore the complexity of navigating a modern, interconnected, global economy. While some celebrate the resurgence of American self-confidence, others warn that the unilateral imposition of tariffs could ultimately undermine the very foundation of international trade relations. In conclusion, the unfolding tariff saga is emblematic of broader challenges faced by policymakers in a highly competitive and rapidly changing global market. The intricate interplay between national pride, economic strategy, and international diplomacy is on full display as leaders from Washington to Beijing reassess their positions. The stakes remain high, and the outcome uncertain, as market forces and diplomatic negotiations continue to shape the future of trade policy. For now, the nation stands at a crossroads where bold strategy and strategic caution must be carefully balanced, and where the legacy of past decisions will undoubtedly influence future economic realities. As observers and stakeholders alike await the next chapter, one thing is clear. The road ahead will require not only decisive action, but also the wisdom to recognize the limits of unilateral power in a world that is increasingly interdependent.